Hello and welcome to Yerushalmi Berachos Daf Pei Dalid. It's exciting that we are winding down on the 8th parak of Berachos, about to start the 9th parak of Mitzvah. So a couple of ha'aras about Havdalah, which are brought up in today. Very interesting stuff. So Darash Rabbi Ze'era Bereit Rabbi Avo, he says, Vayar Elokim asa ar ki tov. Pasuk says, when Hashem created the light, he saw that the light was good. V'achar kach vayavdal Elokim in ar ben achoshech. And then he was able to make Havdalah. So you see that there has to be a yira. There has to be a vision. Now, this is going off the Mishnah that says you can't make a bracha on the nair until you ye'oso la'ara, which seems to mean until you derive benefit. Now, the Sefer Charedim just says it's a remez, and that's a pashup shot. It's not a doraisa din. There's no din of doraisa of Havdalah. But the Baal Turim actually on that pasuk brings out an interesting thing that Vayavdel is Gematria 52, which is the number of Shabbos in the solar year where the Havdalah is said. So again, a remes to Havdalah. Obviously, the simple reading over here is that it's a derabanan, the whole idea. But the Smag in Aseh Chavtes, he quotes from the Lachas Gedolos, and we find this a lot by the Smag and the Lachas Gedolos, that they seem to quote things and they call them doraisa, and they all need to be explained. One of them is that it says that this seems to be a biblical obligation. And to make Havdalah with a nair on Matzei Shabbos. This basically, this doesn't fit in with any other Maimar Chazal, so, and this pasuk is clearly an asmata, and the Ali Tamar here says that as well. So it's a very fascinating remez in the Torah itself, but it clearly is only a din d'Rabbanan. But it's interesting that a lot of times the Smog and the Halachas Gedolos do quote that. For example, the famous controversy about Neres Chanukah, which clearly is not. But again, it could be it's based on a smachta and also a Sherki Shalom Sub Vitzivanu, that we make Vitzivanu on the Neres Chanukah and many other places as well for Mitzvah Rabbanan, because we were mitzvah to listen to the Chachamim. So in that aspect, it's there. Let's focus a little bit on the very famous Gemaras over here, which are about the importance of seeing the nair when you're making a bracha. So the Gemara says over here, Rabbi Huda b'Shem Shmuel says, Kadeshe nashim tavos laro. You have to be close enough that women can spin by the thread of the light. Amar Rav Yochanan Kadeshe eno roa ma b'kosa ma b'kara. You have to be close enough to see what's in the cup and what's on the plate. So again, even small objects there. Amar Rav Chidna Kadeshe yodea lahavchem matbeya l'matbeya. This is the girsa we have in front of us. You should be able to tell between the coins. And the Sadi Yeshua says that's the closest one. Now, the Bavli in Berachos Daf Nun Gimel Amud Beis, so it has a whole machlokes about what type of coins, and it has to be the melasma of Tiveria or versus the melavna of Tzipori. Now, Agav, the Gemara actually earlier just talked about Tzipori and Tiveria, and in the Gemara it talks about early Shabbos, late Shabbos, and the Bavli as well. There's a lot that has to be said about Tiveria and Tzipori, about why they were called Tiveria, why they were called Tzipori, and their locations. It's not for now, but just know that there's a lot going on there as well. But anyway, so the Mara Panim over here says that the Yerushalmi probably means the most machmir view, but the Aruch actually says that the Yerushalmi is following a different view. So there's a whole machlogus over here. What's going on now? Here's what's interesting: is that the Avujar Home actually has different gears in this Gemara. It's also quoted in the Chuas of Rashi, Siman Tzadi Ches. It says, when you could tell between your fingernail and the white flesh. And this is a very famous thing, that one should be able to tell those two things. Now, one shot as to why that girsa has fallen, obviously that they hold that that's what it actually said, is because a lot of times you don't have a coin, or you don't have a lady who's knitting or holding any of these materials, or a cup on your plate, etc. But you do have your hand, so it's the easiest thing to look at. But there's a very famous Mordechai, which is Kedai to look at inside. It's in Yuma, at the end of Maseches Yuma, and he says that there's a custom to look at your fingernails based on the Perek Lezer. It's a very famous Perek Lezer, Perek Yudalad, with a Radal there, of David Luria, who's a Fariship, but he basically says that Adam Rishon was created with a transparent skin that kind of gave out a glow, and after he sinned with Eitz Hadas, so it turns more opaque, and only his fingernails return their original look. So usually the way we like to say it is that he was totally covered in these fingernails, like some type of hard shell, so to speak. Although the way that other people are trying to explain it is that it just had a look like that. But either way, he was all nail, and somehow that was more protected and a higher level, so to speak. But after he sinned, it all was left here, and so we are looking at our nails at the end just to be able to compare the two, because remember we said earlier about the actual punishment kicked in on Motzei Shabbos, and that's when Havdalah was made, and that's when the light was made as well. There's another famous Rabbeinu Yonah in Berachos that explains a different shot, Ayin Sham, but we're not going to go into that right now. But I just want to say a couple things. So it's brought down a piece of Sefer Kabbalah that one should not look at his thumb. Now, I don't exactly know what that means exactly. What's wrong with the thumb? It also says that in the base of English they didn't stick out their thumb, but that was a practical reason because it would look like there were two people when they were trying to count for a pious. But anyway, it very well could be that since everyone had webbed hands, so the thumb was not as versatile because the first person born with a thumb, according to some, and with hands that are separated, according to other midrashim, was Noach. So it could be they didn't have a thumb. So again, we're coming back to the time of Ma'aseh Berachos. Also, a very quick thing is Achia Osala or you can't make a bracha. So the Mishnah Berurah brings down that some sheet say that first you have to be nana from it and then make a bracha. Others sheet say you first have to make a bracha and then be nana. So you could be machmir, which I try to do according to the Mishnah Berurah, which is that before I make the bracha al ner, I try to look with one hand, and then after making the bracha with the other. After making the bracha, then you look with the other hand. But again, it's certainly not ma'akev. But here's what's most fascinating, and that is that according to the Yerushalmi, you actually don't even have to be nana from the light. It just has to be there, because it says that Tani Rav Oshia afilu tricklin eser al eser mevarchin. Even in a hall that's 10 amos by 10 amos, you can recite the bracha, and you don't have to stand close enough to the light. And Rav Zera, Makar of Kumi Butzina, but Rav Zera approached the lamp to stand next to it. So his Talmidim asked him, Rebbe, I thought this is the halacha. And he doesn't answer them. So he was being machmer. So the Yerushalmi's halacha seems to be, the halacha l'maisa, according to Yerushalmi, not how we paskin, is that you don't actually even have to be nana from it at all. And this is brought down. The Bavli clearly says not like this, that a person has to actually benefit from it. The Mara Panim and the Shtei Yeshua brings this down. And the Shulchan Aruch and Arachaim, Hilchos Havdalah, which is in 298, it says clearly, like the Bavli, that you have to be close enough to benefit. So that's halacha l'maisa, but it's always interesting to see a sheet of the Yerushalmi that one could sometimes apply or use in maybe Shas Chak, etc., or as a posek who's trying to be mount or something. All right, have a great day.